Let's count these dogs. 1, 2. There are 2 dogs. 2 was the last number we said when we counted, so that means that there are 2. How many parrots are there? 1, 2. There are 2 parrots. Now for your practice, you need to find the group that has 2 objects. So does this group have 2 objects? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 isn't 2. What about this group? 1, 2. This group does have 2 objects. So for your answer, you can just click on the group that has 2 objects. Now it's your turn to do some.
Do you know what less than means? When we have less of something, that means we don't have as many. Look at these 2 groups. We have a group of big bears and a group of little bears. Can you tell which group has less? That's right. There are less of the big bears. So the group of big bears has less. Let's look at another example. We have some squares and we have some circles. Can you tell which group has less than the other group? Well, it's kind of hard to tell when they're all bunched up like this. So let's put 1 square with 1 circle. When we put them together like this, we know we'll run out of the group that has less first. Well, look, we have no more circles, but we still had 1 more square. So the group that has less is the group of circles because there aren't as many circles. Let's look at an example like you'll get to do in just a minute. Here we have 2 groups. You need to click on the group that has less than the other group. So if you look at them and you can't tell, imagine lining them up. So you'd line up 1 from this group with 1 from this group, 1 from this group with 1 from this group, 1 from this group with 1 from this group. We ran out of objects in this group. So this is the group that has less because it doesn't have as many. So you'll click on the group that has less and then move on to the next problem. Have fun!
This is the number 2. Now let's count some objects. I brought some scuba diving friends. Let's count how many there are. 1, 2. There's 2. Now let's count some things on a picture. Can you find the koala bears? How many koala bears are there? Let's count. 1, 2. There are 2 koala bears. Let's count how many mice there are. 1, 2. 2 mice. Now let's count the boots. 1, 2. There are 2 boots. Now let's count the books. How many books can you find? Here's 1, 2. There are 2 books. How many ice cream cones? 1, 2. 2. How many apples? 1, 2. How many ants? 1, 2. 2 ants. Now we're going to start learning about numbers and how to count objects in a group to find out how many there are. Math is all about knowing how many of something there is. And so if you're good at your numbers, it will really help you in math. So first, we're going to start by counting these bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when we count, the last number that we say tells us how many there are. So there are 5 bears. Every number has a symbol, and today we are going to focus on the number 1. There is 1 bear. When I count it, I just say 1. And we write the number 1 like this. 1. There is 1 bear. Now on the screen, there is 1 dog. See that? There is 1 dog. The number 1. How many elephants are there? There is 1. 1 elephant. And we have 1 cat. There is 1 kitten. Now for your practice, you'll be shown 3 different groups. And what you need to do is find the group that has 1 object. So let's look up here. How many are in this group? 1, 2. Well, there's not 1 in that group, so we won't click on it. What about this one? 1, 2, 3. This group has 3. That's not 1 either. Let's look at this group. 1. There is 1 octopus. Since there is only 1 in this group, we'll choose this one and click on it. This is the group that has 1. The group that has less than is the group that doesn't have as many as the other group. So we want to figure out which group of the objects I brought today has less than the other group. So look, here we have some bears and we have some umbrellas. Now, all these bears need an umbrella, so we're going to give each bear 1 umbrella. Look, we have another umbrella left, but we have no more bears. So that means there are less bears than umbrellas because there aren't as many bears as umbrellas. Now we're going to do an example on the computer. Now here we have some butterflies and we have some flowers. So this butterfly is going to go to this flower. This butterfly goes to this flower, and this butterfly goes to that flower. But look, we have more butterflies and no more flowers. That means there are less flowers than butterflies. The group of flowers has less. Okay? So now you need to do some yourself, and what you need to look at is which group has less. Okay? Good luck. Today I brought some yellow cubes and some tigers. And what we need to do is find out which group has less than the other group. Now, less than means that there are fewer than. If we have less, then that means we don't have as many. So what do you think the first thing we're going to do is? That's right. Put 1 from each group together. So we'll give each of the tigers 1 of the yellow cubes. Okay, now look, what do you notice about the tigers and the cubes? Does one of the groups have less than the other group? That's right, there are less cubes. Because look, We ran out of cubes, but we still have more tigers. We don't have as many cubes as tigers, so the group of cubes has less than the group of tigers. Now here we have some bats and some baseballs. Okay? So let's put one bat with each baseball. This one has a baseball, this one has a baseball, and this one has a baseball. And then look, there's no more bats, but there's one more baseball. That means that there are less bats than baseballs. So this group has less. Okay? So now it's your turn to do some yourself. So think about which group doesn't have as many, and that's the group that has less. Good luck. This is the number 1. Okay, let's count how many birds I brought. 1. This is one bird. And now let's look at a picture. Look at the seahorses. How many seahorses are there? There's one seahorse. How many shells do you see? One shell. How many goldfish can you find? There's one goldfish. Now look at this picture. How many flowers can you find? Can you find the flower? There's one flower. How many ladybugs are there? One. How many grasshoppers can you find? There's one grasshopper. And how many apples are there? One. How many baskets? One. And how many girls? There's one girl. When we want to see which group has more than another group, we need to see which group has some left over if we put one object from both groups together. So how about you look at these objects and I'll show you what I mean. Here we have some jelly beans and we have some frogs. All right, so let's start by giving each jelly bean to one of the frogs. Uh-oh, look, we have more jelly beans and no more frogs. That means we have more jelly beans than frogs. Okay, now we're going to do an example on the computer. Now here we have some frogs and we have some lily pads. So let's see if which group has more. This frog can be with this lily pad. This frog gets that lily pad, and this frog gets that lily pad. Uh-oh, look, there's more frogs and there's no more lily pads. That means that the group of frogs has more than the group of lily pads. Let's do another example. All right, now in this problem, we have a group of rabbits and a group of apples. And we need to figure out which group has more than the other group. If we put a rabbit with this apple, a rabbit with this apple, a rabbit with this apple, and another rabbit with this apple, look, we have one more apple left over and no rabbit to give it to. That means we have more apples than rabbits. So the group of apples has more. So when you do problems where you need to find which group has more, you need to think about which group would have some extra. And that's the group that has more. Good luck. brought a lot of bugs, and we need to sort them. This is something that scientists who study insects do a lot. They put bugs into different groups based on things that they have in common. And then they can look at a certain area and they can see what kind of bugs live there and how many of certain types and all sorts of things. But today we're going to use these toy bugs and we're going to sort them. Are you ready? So I have a lot of different kinds of bugs here, but we're going to put them in groups by things they have in common. Well, we could put all the butterflies into a group together. So we'll make the group of butterflies over here. This is not a butterfly, so he won't go in there. Here's a butterfly. Here's a butterfly. Here's a butterfly. Here's a butterfly. Here's another one. And one more. So there's our group of butterflies. Now, another type of insect I have are the spiders. So we'll make a group of spiders. That's not a spider, it's a beetle. Here's a spider. And we also have beetles. So we'll make a group of all the beetles. All right, so now all of our insects have been sorted into groups based on what type of insect they are. Now I want to know, which type of insect do I have the most of? Well, we can count to find out. Let's count the spiders. We have two spiders. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beetles. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 butterflies. So which group has the most? That's right, it's the group of butterflies. There's the most of them. Now, which group has the least? Do you know what the word least means? Least means the littlest amount. You can think of it as least sounds kind of like little. So which group has the least? That's right, the group of spiders, because there's only 2 spiders. All right, so for your practice, you'll get to do some problems kind of like this. And you need to listen to the audio to find out which group to click on. This time you need to click on the group that has the most. So we can figure this out by counting. The group of lizards has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the group of parrots has 1, 2, 3. So which group has the most? That's right, this group. So you'd click on it and push next. Let's do one more. This time you need to find the group that has the least. So the fish, in the group of fish, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the group of birds, there's just 1. So which group has the least? That's right, the group with just 1 bird. So you'd click on it and push next. Okay, now you get to do some. Good luck. Here we have a group of jelly beans and a group of bears. Now this time, instead of just trying to find out if both groups have the same number, we want to find out which group has more than the other group. So again, we're going to give each bear 1 jelly bean. We'll put 1 from both groups together. Uh-oh, look. We have 1 jelly bean that's left over. See that? Each bear has a jelly bean, but there's 1 jelly bean left over. That means that there are more jelly beans than bears. The group of jelly beans has more than the group of bears. So now we're going to do an example on the computer. I want you to look at these kittens and the yarn. Kittens really like to play with yarn. So we're going to put this kitten with this yarn, this kitten with this yarn, and this kitten with this yarn. And this kitten, uh-oh, look, there's no yarn for this kitten to play with.
there's an extra kitten. And so that means that there are more kittens than yarn. The group of kittens has more. So remember, when you're looking for which group has more, you need to look for which group has some left over. All right? Good luck.
Hello, we're working on more than, and we're trying to find out which group has more. Is it the yellow or is it the red? I need your help, so let's find out. So we have the yellow, we're lining them up. Here's all of our yellows. We're going to go into the red. And here's our red. Which group has more? Is it the yellow or is it the red? It looks like it's the yellow. Now we have pink circles and blue circles, and we're trying to figure out which group has more circles. Okay, we're going to take a look. Here's a pink and blue circle, a pink and blue circle, a pink and blue circle, and now we only have a pink and a pink. Which one has more? I think you're right. It's pink. Today we're going to learn about the number 2. We're going to look at these two objects, circles, 1, 2. And here's how you draw the number 2. That's how you write the number 2. Look, stars, 1, 2. Hearts, 1, 2. Bears, 1, 2.
And for your practice, you need to find the group that has 2 objects. So, does this group have 2 objects? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 isn't 2. What about this group? 1, 2. This group does have 2 objects. So for your answer, you can just click on the group that has 2 objects. Now it's your turn to do some.